Hello again, and welcome back to Perfectly Paranormal, episode 93. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. And today we are raising the shields on paranormal protection. We're going to look at the do's and the don'ts, and I'm going to give you some practical advice and some techniques for protecting yourself from dark entities in the environment around us. And when we think of energetic protection, that can mean lots of different things on lots of different levels, and I'll explain. We need protection from spirit energy. Spirits can be draining around us in our environment. Then we've got the dark and the demonic level entities. They hang around us for other reasons that you would have heard me talk about in a lot of my other episodes. But we even need protection from living people. Yes, indeedy do. We all know those energy vampire type people that are out there who love to corner you and drain your energy by their whinging and their moaning and their drama queen or drama king behaviours. Ditch them. They're not good for you to be around. Also too, people who have entities attached to them. Now, not everyone is going to pick up on this, but when you become more energetically sensitive, you will notice that you feel different around some people, whereas you feel fine around others. Some people that you're around, you might feel suddenly very sick in the stomach or sick in the mind, you get brain fog, you can't speak properly, you feel anxious or you feel very panicky, and there's no tangible reason why you're feeling these symptoms. Experiment with moving away from that person if you can, and just keep your distance from them for a while and see if your symptoms disappear. Now, if they're family, then that's always an issue. You have to find ways to manage your relationship the best way that you can and find a protection practice that works for you. Now, I've mentioned 3 different types of possible needs for protection. So you've got the spirits, the dark and the demonic beings, and then the living people. Your one protection method that you devise can protect you from all of these 3 different types of energetic invaders. Now let's look at the do's first. And yes, we have a fairly substantial list. So make sure that you are very comfortable, you have a cup of tea, and something to snack on because we're going to be here for quite a while. Now, when you're creating your protection practice, most important is your focused intention, then your belief, and repeating the chosen process regularly, as this will enhance your protection. One thing that dealing with magic attack has taught me is that protection has to be recharged and enhanced on a regular basis. And you really have to be creative and think outside the box. You're going to get people that will tell you that you have to do protection a certain way. They're what I call textbook spiritualists. They only follow a prescribed method of doing things. They're not creative. They don't think outside the box. And when the, say, technique or method in the book doesn't work, then they really don't know what to do. The energy world around us is ever changing, whether it's spirit energy, dark or demonic energy, or it's people around you that are sending you bad juju. You really have to be creative and just think outside the norm, because this stuff is outside the norm. It's part of our reality. But there really isn't a defined textbook on how to manage the energy world. And also too, creating energetic protection isn't a one-off kind of there you go, it's done thing. You need to bring your protection practices into your daily life. Now, this isn't weird or wacky. I mean, you lock your doors to keep weirdos out of your house. You've got to lock your energy field to keep the energetic weirdos out. And for some people doing energy work, they might want to check and recharge their energy protection on a daily basis. I know that I do. I'm checking it sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Once you get used to doing it, and it takes a couple of minutes, becomes part of your daily routine. Now others, like your average everyday Joe in the street, who might feel like they want a bit of protection when they're going on a paranormal tour or they're doing a paranormal investigation, they might want to recharge and check their protection before they go on events, or they might want to do it weekly. You need to experiment with what works for you. And I will say, as your energetic sensitivity grows, as I've seen in many, many people that I work with, you need to update your protection practices on a regular basis. You need to check that they're working. Then you need to update them, upgrade them, working with whichever spiritual higher vibrational being that you choose to work with. As I'll share with you later on, working with higher vibrational beings really has been a lifesaver for me. So let's look into our long list of protection practices. Now, I've broken these practices into 3 sections. We've got visual imagery, we've got practical items and activities, and then we've got verbal activities. So let's look at the visual imagery first, where you can visualize and create a protection force field of sorts around your energy field, purely by visualizing it and using your intention. Now, a lot of these practices that I'm going to share with you today are quite standard, that quite a lot of other people use. I've put my personal twist on them because I've used pretty much all of them over the years to some degree or another, and then I've moved on to others that are better. So when it comes to visual imagery, you can imagine the traditional golden bubble of light that encases your energy field and repels any negativity coming towards you. Once you've done your visualization, once you've done maybe a bit of meditation, sit with that image that you want to create, and you feel really comfortable that you can see this golden bubble around yourself and nothing can get in. You can then add extra layers for extra protection, such as some people I've heard using pink hearts. I personally like the things that are a bit more textural, like barbed wire, or even mirrors, or you can use coloured bands or layers of light. And remember, be creative. You are crafting your energetic protection. It's not going to be the same as the person next to you. I mean, you can ping ideas off each other and see what other people use, but remember, what they use might not be what works for you. So the next one, you can see and feel yourself surrounded by a protective metal shield or a brick wall or a barbed wire fence like I mentioned earlier. And you can see yourself, this is something I used to use. I used to pull on every morning my protective suit of glowing white armour. And I found in the early days that worked for me. But as I got into doing more energy work, I was dealing with more entities, different types of entities, heavier types of entities such as the demonic level beings. I had to change and upgrade my protection. Now this works. You can see your spirit guides, angels or archangels, or any other type of, I don't want to say religious, we'll say higher vibrational spiritual support network. You know what I mean? Whether it be God, Jesus, Buddha, I personally like working with the archangels. I see them as my big brothers. And I know that they're not male or female, they're androgynous, but I see them as males because I have very strong male energy within me. And I just see them as my big brothers. Now, why I'm saying that is you can visualize that spiritual supporter as your bodyguard. And they go everywhere with you, even in bed, on your paranormal tours. When you're at work and you're around that really icky person that just makes you feel sick and you can't work out why, call in your angelic bodyguards, call in your spiritual bodyguards. Now, how I know this works is that I had a lady ask me one day who the tall golden beings were that were standing behind me. Now, I went to see this lady. It was for a work-related job, and she was very psychically open. And she simply opened her front door, and I'd never met her before, and we're kind of standing there looking at each other. And she just went, and she's pointing, and she's like, who are they? And when I explained who they were, as being the archangels. I work mainly with Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel. She went, oh, that's kind of cool. So work with what works for you. No one told me about this bodyguard thing. I kind of sat down and I nutted it out. Because you'll know that I like detective work. So if I've got a problem, I am going to work on a multitude of different ways to fix the problem. And then I'll just slowly cross them off my list as to ones that don't work. So the next thing we're going to look at, this is a funny thing that I've heard someone else mention that I've tried using as well. You can use a spiritual vacuum cleaner to suck up all the negativity around you. And you can send it off into the cosmic tip, as I like to call it, for recycling. I just like to think of energy as being recycled in the universe. So you can dress up your cosmic vacuum cleaner any way you want. You can make it any colour, any shape, any size. It can shoot out golden sparks. It can throw out a cosmic net. Whatever you want to work with, remember, be creative. Now, when I'm talking visual imagery, you might like to do this through meditation. I don't do a lot of meditation anymore because I'm kind of switched on 24/7, but in the early days, I did do a lot of meditation. So for those of you who are new to working with protection, you can sit down in a quiet place at a quiet time of the day, no distractions. All your technology turned off, the dog's outside, the kids are at school, the house is quiet. And you can just sit. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever length you want to do. Get yourself into that quiet, mind-settled state where you call in your spiritual helpers, whoever it is that you have to help when you do your meditation, and ask that your protection is activated. Be specific with the wording, which I'm going to talk about later on. But meditation is a really great way for beginners to get into using visual imagery. It's where I started, and I'm a very visual person, so that works really well for me. So now we're going to look at some of the practical items or activities you can do to give yourself some levels of protection around your energy field. Now, one of the really important ones is to raise your vibration by living in a positive mindset. Now, it's not as simple as it sounds. It takes practice. You work on thinking positively through working on your thoughts, your words, your actions, your reactions, everywhere you go. Now, none of us are perfect. We all have bad thoughts or nasty thoughts, or we just have days where everything just falls in a hole. Well, if that happens, you just pick yourself up and start again the next day. You always got to work on these things. You're going to have days where it works and where it doesn't work. But because the entities, they'll simply just move on to the next person with the vibration that they like. If you're not carrying the vibration they're interested in, they really don't care about you. They're only looking for energetic food. Some people like to wear protective crystals, such as tourmaline, tiger's eye, obsidian, onyx. They're just to name a few. And people will wear them stuck in their bras or in their handbags or in their pockets or in their jacket pockets, and they even sleep with them. I used to use crystals, but I found they weren't pumping out the vibe that I needed. They weren't doing it for me. Like I said before, I'm more about the visuals and the wording. But some people really resonate with crystals. So work with crystals if that is what does it for you. You've got to test them out and work out which ones are the ones for you. You can go into a crystal shop and just stand at the stall where they've got all their crystals laid out. And yes, it will be pumping out quite a vibration because when they're all together, their energy can get a bit mixed up. So what you can do is you can pick up crystals, pop them in your hand. Just have your hand out flat, put the crystal on your hand. How does it feel? Does it make you feel different? Does it make you feel better? Or are you just drawn to use a particular crystal that might even be on that list that I suggested? Remember, this is just a generalised list of practical activities to get you started. There might be another crystal that jumps out at you and you don't know why. Do some research. What does that one represent? They all have vibrations that do assist us, but some people need a multiple layered protection. I've used crystals in the past and then added the verbal statements and then added the visual imagery. Those of you with an affinity with the religious artefacts and objects, you can wear your cross. You can carry your cross with you. You can carry other religious artefacts with you. Because remember, it's all about your intention, your focus, and your belief. It's going to make this work for you. But for other people, actually this just came to mind. I designed a set of archangelic oracle cards a few years ago, and I had a lot of spares left over. And when I was at markets and talking to people about the card decks, I would give people a card. And you'll love this little story. It was so lovely. I had a lady there one day. She was all sad and she was upset and she was miserable and she just couldn't cope with life. And I got her to close her eyes and I sort of fanned out the cards that I was giving away. And the one that she drew out was Archangel Michael. And it was simply an image of his face that I had drawn, that I'd pasteled many, many years ago. And she was stunned. She was like, well, what do I do with this? And I said, this is a representation of a higher vibrational being. And that lady, she carried that picture of Archangel Michael with her everywhere. She resonated with the message that was on the back of the card. And she came back to the same market, I think it was maybe 2 years later, and she pulled out her Archangel Michael card. Oh, you've never seen anything so battered and bent, and sort of the colour was starting to come off it, and the corners were dog-eared, but you know what, she still loved it. She said she felt so connected to the angelic realm that she'd never ever thought of in her life as being something she could work with. So there's a practical item that is also visual that worked for her. And it was so lovely because I offered to give her a new Archangel Michael card and she's like, no, I like this one. I keep him in my handbag. I have him under my pillow. She said, I just feel really connected. And you know what? That's what it's all about. I was so glad that that worked for that lady. Now, this is something else you can use as one of your multi-layered facets of your protection. Some people believe that colours have a vibration, and some people believe that wearing colours can make you feel protected. Colours such as navy or black, you can use those as part of your multi-layered protection system. For those of you who like making natural things, you can do some research and create talismans or amulets or little charms with sacred symbols, little bags that have crystals and herbs and maybe a little written statement that you've created. This is where the creativity comes in. If that is something that would work for you, give it a go. Do some research. The internet is filled with ideas. And remember what I said before, you don't have to follow the ideas rigidly. Be flexible and go with what your intuition guides you to use. And those little bags, you can wear them in your pocket, stick them down your bra. They're the same as crystals. Sleep with them under your pillow. Make them part of your daily routine. Now, this is one that a friend suggested, and I haven't used it because I actually don't fit in my bath very well. Oh my goodness, I'm too long for my very short bath. Now, some people like to believe that as part of their protection, they use a bath with sea salt or Epsom salt or Himalayan salt. They add certain herbs. They might use particular essential oils. They might burn essential oils and incense while they're in the bath. Because all of these aspects, they're all a natural part of our environment, and they're also very grounding, which I'm going to talk about very soon. Salt is very grounding. It comes from the earth. It is of the earth. And it's also said to have really good cleansing properties and can help keep your energy field clean. Now, something another friend of mine uses is she uses affirmations. She repeats protective affirmations every day, such as, I am protected by my spiritual support network, or I release all energy that is not mine. And she says it out loud, feels it working. She believes it will work, so therefore it will work. The intention, again, is so important. Now, grounding. Grounding is another really important factor that people often forget, not just for protection, but just for general daily life, feeling that we are connected to Mother Earth. Our energy bodies, which is your chakras, meridian lines, and your energy field, need to be grounded into our physical bodies, and then both are grounded into Mother Earth. We live on this planet, in this reality. We need to be connected to the earth. Grounding should be part of your protection. Now, I did a heap of grounding videos on my YouTube channel. Oh my God, they're a little bit embarrassing because I did them a few years ago. Oh, goodness. But they're there and the information is good. Even if we won't go into that. I will leave the link in the description box for you if you want to check out my YouTube channel. There's lots of videos there, lots of playlists on spiritual practices, but there's also some videos specifically on grounding. So check out the description box if you'd like the links to those. Now, we talked about this right at the beginning of this section. Working on living in a higher vibration. Now, this comes with homework. The other things that you do, you create something and then you use it every day. That's not really homework. That's just creating a routine. This one comes with homework. Entities are drawn to us because of our vibration that we pump out on a daily basis. When you raise your vibration by releasing trauma, removing addictions, or any other negative aspects within yourself, the entities simply aren't interested in you. This work requires counselling. You might need to see a mental health professional and to deal with all those skeletons that are in your closet. And believe me, we all have them. Weighs you down and you don't function properly. And believe me, when you take the time to do this work, do your shadow work, getting rid of all the rubbish, all the emotional and mental baggage within yourself, you are going to feel lighter, brighter, happier, and energetically cleaner, foregoing any energetic attachment. They will simply fly by you. Now, we're going to look at verbal activities that you can do for creating protection practices. And all of these need to be said out loud. Now, I don't mean yelling. Generally, it's just saying it in your normal tone of voice. When you think what you want to do, that does create a vibration, but there's no oomph to it. When you add your intention with your tone and your passion and your desire to create something, you're adding more power to it, basically. That is really, really important. And when you're writing and saying positive affirmations out loud, you can do them morning, night, afternoon, doesn't matter. It's what works for you. You don't have to do these things at particular times of the day. It's whatever you can fit into your routine. And if you're working with faith or prayer or working with your chosen spiritual support network, talk to them daily. They're always there. They're always listening. There doesn't have to be a ceremony unless you want to do one. As long as I'm polite and respectful, I just talk to them like I'm talking to you now. We just have a conversation. Well, it's usually a one-sided conversation. Sometimes I get a word or a statement or an image as a little reply. But generally I am trusting and believing that they are there and that they wish to help me, which is what they do. That's what our spiritual support network is for. Now, another thing you can do is if you go on paranormal tours or paranormal investigations, always be polite and respectful. Always, whether you're talking with spirits, whether you're simply going into a location, ask permission to enter the building. Now, do it out loud, but you can do it in such a way that other people don't notice. When I used to be a paranormal tour guide, I would set the standard, and before I would enter someone's room at this particular location, I would say, "Hi, can we please enter your room?" Now, sometimes you don't get an answer. You don't get a response. If you've got spirit boxes or other paranormal gadgets around, you might get a response. But the thing is that you've been polite and you have asked. We used to get, I'm not going to get too sidetracked here, We used to get a lot of spirits telling us to get out through the spirit box. It would simply be get out, or there'd be a few chosen swear words thrown in. I go, right, I think we need to leave this room, and we say, thank you for letting us come and speak with you, or thank you for letting us come into your room. We're going to go now. It's just like talking to people, talking to living people. You treat them with respect. Now, this next activity is visual and verbal. Now, I don't know if you've heard about the violet flame of Saint Germain. Now, this is a rather interesting cleansing and protective practice that some people use. Now, the violet flame, it's a spiritual flame for cleansing, protection and transformation. It can help to cleanse, revitalise and restore your protection around your auric field. And Saint Germain is said to be an ascended master and is the keeper and the overseer of this flame. Now, I don't know where this flame's located. I presume he would be in the archangelic realm, which is all around us anyway, because all of the dimensions all overlap all at the same time. So just figure like you're just walking into the flame wherever you are. Now, there's many different types of mantras that you can say as you walk through the violet flame. You could say a simple prayer. You could say the Lord's Prayer as you're walking through the violet flame. Some people say that the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father who art in heaven, that prayer has a strong, powerful, protective essence about it. I have used it in the past. I don't find that it would be a full process for me anymore. If I was using that, I would have other multi-layered protections around it. Now, a simple process if people are interested in how to use the violet flame for protection. So again, it's a bit like a meditation. You relax your mind, you can close your eyes and visualize yourself walking into a room where there is this massive flame in the middle of the room. Now, it can be more than one flame. It can be a wall of flame. Remember, be creative. And I like to ask permission from Saint Germain before entering the flame. And after you ask permission, you have a clear intention in your mind about what you want the flame to do for you. So you see yourself walking into this flame, and as you walk, you ask for the flame to dissolve all negativity attached to your body, to a situation or to a problem, and that it revitalizes your energy field, your auric field, and protects you as you go about your daily interactions. And as you come out of that flame, I always like to say thank you. Manners are really, really important. Remember I said earlier about being polite and respectful? As much as you do that with the spirits and the darker energy beings, you also do it with your higher vibrational beings. It is just a general rule of thumb throughout the universe. Be polite, be respectful. And the last few points to remember before we move into the don'ts of paranormal protection. Some people say that if you don't believe in it, it can't hurt you. Well, that may be true for some people. But what I find the majority of the time is it depends on your mental and emotional vulnerability, your addictions, your lifestyle choices. These entities, remember, come to you because of the vibration that you create. And whether you believe in them or not, they can attach to you. I've seen it so many times. I work with this on a daily basis, whether it be homes, whether it be people, whether it be pets. We're all prone to energetic attachment if we're not protected. And it can also depend on what your life focus is based on, especially if you work in the energy world. Whether you're a card reader, tarot reader, pendulum dowser, energy worker, sound healer, Reiki, whatever it is you're doing in the energy world, you definitely need protection. Because when you're working with the energy world, the entities see you. You might not see them, or you might, but they see you. Your energy field shines in a different way. It's brighter, it vibes out more energy. They are going to be drawn to you. And a lot of energy workers aren't energetically clean. They're just not. They don't do the work on themselves. So they've got just as much emotional and mental baggage as what their clients have. Also too, those people that are dabbling with connecting into the astral plane during astral travel, or they're connecting to spirits through work, or because you're a paranormal enthusiast. Our physical bodies aren't built to withstand the bombardment from the energy world. Our bodies are built, our fleshy physical bodies are built to function in this earth reality. Our soul energy that resides in these physical bodies, that is the part of you that interacts with the energy world around us. I like to call it the auric body or the energy body. And that contains your chakras, your meridian lines and your energy field. Because these chakras, meridian lines and energy field, these energy centres monitor and sense the changes in the energetic environment around us. And when these energy centres are disrupted by outside influences, this can be people, toxic people, or spirits, or dark energies, or trauma, your energy body and your physical body are both affected. And you're going to feel tired and drained. You might experience sleep disturbances, behavioural issues, so many symptoms that could also be medical. So always get yourself checked by your doctor first before assuming that your issue is energetic. Now, this is the last thing. This is where people can sometimes get a little bit lazy. Never assume that higher vibrational helpers or beings or supporters, whatever you want to call them, are going to do all the work for you. No. It's not how it works. They can't be involved in doing the work because by doing it, they create karma. Now, you wouldn't think that archangels could create karma, but I found this out when I was going through quite a large patch of magical attacks. And I was asking for a lot of help from the archangels. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And they're like, nope, not doing it. And I went, oh, okay. What do I do now? And they said, you ask, we will assist you to do something. But they can't activate it. They can't do the work for you because then they take on whatever karma that comes with it. So just be aware of that. Your wording is so important. When I work with the archangels, I call on the archangel and ask them to please come now to assist me with, remember, the words, really important. Now, talking about my protection practices, here we go. I personally work with the archangels because it works for me. They help me doing lots and lots of different things through all sorts of different aspects of my daily life. Archangel Metatron, Melchizedek, and especially Archangel Michael, who is believed to wield the mighty sword of justice and protection. I feel that vibration is what I really, really resonate with. And the written statements, I use written statements a lot. I use them along with tangible objects and through the verbalization of what I say. So it's the written, the objects, and the words. And this creates a multi-layered, multifaceted vibration around my energy field, like a force field, like a barrier that really does block and repel detrimental outside influences. Now, I'm not going to be sharing my exact wording for my protection statements, and there's a very good reason for this. Because the protection system that I've devised over the last few years is protecting families with young children and also many of my clients. And I give all my clients who come to me now for energy clearing work, they get the 3-layered energy protection as part of my professional work. And I don't charge to give people the protection. As someone asked me one day, and I'd never even thought about it. I went, no, it's part of the process. If it works for me, I'm going to give it to other people. As much as saying that, I don't tell them the process I'm using. They don't get a written copy of it. I actually do the process for them when I'm connected to them, when I'm doing an energetic clearing. It's not hard to write protection statements. You can write your own protection statement, asking for what you want, not what you don't want. Right? It just doesn't work. I know it sounds weird, but the wording is really important. And 2, keep the statements short and precise. Practice them. Say them 50 times if you need to get the wording right. I've done this, and believe me, you will hone down something that is 3 paragraphs down to 2 or 3 sentences, and that is all that you need. As long as it says exactly what you need, and if you read it in a week's time and go, oh, I don't like that now, I want to change it, say it again. I like to say it 3 times. Don't know why. I just got told when I asked with my dowsing, now do I need to say this once? And I got a very defined no. Twice? No. 3 times? Yes. So it must be that universal 3 thing. The 3 is more powerful. So I just say all of my protection statements 3 times. That's what works for me. And you say your wording with strong, focused intention. You believe it's going to work. And you see and feel your energy field being impenetrable. So start with one process and then be creative. And then you can add more. You can add your visuals. You can add your tangible objects. It can be more than one tangible process that you use. And another thing, for a bit extra protection at night, here are 6 visualizations that I use or have used in the past for a bit of extra nighttime paranormal protection. And I love to call them sleeping with angels. And you're going to hear why. So you can visualize, and it's always important to ask out loud because remember, words carry a vibration. So number 1, you can ask for angelic lights or angelic energy to surround you while you sleep. Number 2, you can ask your favourite spiritual supporters to sleep with you, or they can stand next to your bed and watch over you while you're sleeping. Number 3, you can ask that you're wrapped in a blanket made of God's light, angelic light, or your favourite higher supporters' light or energy. Who or what you believe in, your religious beliefs, your spiritual beliefs. It doesn't have to be angelic. It doesn't have to be the word God. It can be whoever you believe in because it's all about the intention. Now, number 4, you can ask to access the angelic healing garden and you can find a nice place to curl up for the night. And it can be, when I go there, I see flowers of different colours. Some people have told me that they see healing lights. Some people find that there's crystals in the angelic garden or that they hear calming music. And being in this angelic or archangelic space makes them feel more protected. The other thing, number 5, you can ask that you're taken to a soothing crystal cave. Whether this is, it can be in the angelic realm, it can be in the elemental realm, it can be in Mother Earth. You can ask to be taken to this cave where you sleep amongst your favourite crystals. You might love rose quartz, and that will make you feel like you've got a bit extra love around you. Or if you're an amethyst lover, you may find that the calming, protective energy of amethyst just makes you feel more relaxed and you drift off to sleep and you feel totally protected. Now, number 6, Mother Earth. A lot of people go higher when they're wanting protection. I've used this one quite often. I quite often go into Mother Earth and see myself being wrapped in her energy. Whether that's being wrapped up with plants or trees or tree roots, doesn't really matter. It's what works for you. But you can also use protective crystals, like just as how we've talked about going to the soothing crystal cave. You can see yourself surrounded by Mother Earth and protective crystals, or earthy grounding crystals that make you feel protected. It can be crystals such as tourmaline or jasper or onyx, for example. So the most important thing to remember is be creative, reflect, and be accountable with your protection. And like I said earlier, your intention creates the vibration you desire. So the stronger your intention and the more often you use it, the more powerful it is, the more powerful your protection is, and the easier it is to activate. Everybody's protection needs are going to be different. And what works for me might not work for you. But what I've given you will give you food for thought to go, oh, I like that idea, I like that idea. No, that's rubbish, I'm not using that. And that's fine. Protection is an individual practice and you need to do the practice and be creative. There's no shortcuts with this. You need to do the homework. So let's get into the 4 don'ts when it comes to paranormal protection or any protection of any sort. Number 1, Don't trust other people's protection practices that you don't gel with. Avoid practices that you feel trigger you, whether mentally or emotionally or physically or even spiritually. And you might even notice energetic changes or physical changes in your body. You might feel unwell, you might feel uncomfortable. Just ditch it. Don't go with it because they're not for you. That is your body and your energy body telling you, nah, this is not for you. Move away now. Number 2, don't pay supposed spiritual gurus large amounts of money for energetic protection. A mate of mine was really struggling one day. Haven't spoken to this person for years, and he contacted me and he laid out his story, and he said that a guru type person had done like a mini protection for him and said, oh, that will last for you for 2 days. And then demanded that this person hand over $2,000 for the fully activated protection program. This is a total crock and fraudulent behaviour. Do not hand out large amounts of money to people that tell you they're going to protect you, because energetic protection should be given. I worked for years on mine, and now I know it works for me. It's keeping me alive and keeping me protected. I give it to my clients when I do the work. And it's such a nice thing to give. It was given to me through all the work that I did. It's that pay it forward thinking. Number 3, now this should be pretty obvious. Avoid dabbling in the dark arts, black magic and satanic practices, looking for any type of energetic protection. These sorts of practices naturally attract lower vibrational entities, which is what you're trying to avoid in the first place. So just don't do it. Just stay away from these types of practices, especially if you're mentally and emotionally vulnerable. Entities are just looking for new hosts because that is what they do. It's part of their work. And they'll get in your home, they'll get in your energy field, and they will create all sorts of chaos. Because you've dabbled in those processes, you are putting out there an invitation. Now, talking about invitations, number 4, if you're using a Ouija board or you're going to a seance and you want to connect with past loved ones, use protection, use multiple layers if you're going to these types of events. Because again, they are another form of attracting energy into the space, into the people. Items like Ouija boards, I know some people use them and say they're safe. But I'm always thinking of that one vulnerable person in the group that is going to be the new target of these entities. So this is purely why I talk about these boards. I'm not giving people a hard time who use them. It's fine. It's your choice. But the awareness is important because Ouija boards open portals. And you're opening a portal through your intention, your attention, and your invitation for something, in inverted commas, to connect with you. And you don't know what's going to come through these boards. Yeah, it might look like grandma, but I bet you it isn't. They really, really will mess with your lives. And also too, last point, people always forget to close Ouija boards. They leave the energetic door open. And whether the board's under your bed or in the cupboard, or you've used it in a particular room in your home, if that person that's come to use the Ouija board with you takes it home with them, well, that's their problem to deal with. But the portal's been opened in your home. It's opened through the board and in the location. They must be closed. Work with your angelic supporters to close the doorways. Lock them, glue them, seal them, nail them shut. Now, that all being said, finding protection practices that work takes time and practice. I've been doing this for years and decades even. And I'm still updating my protection practices if circumstances change. Once you start doing this work, your higher vibrational supporters, whoever they are, they're going to chime in. They're going to show you what you need to use. So as your energetic awareness grows, you need to enhance and update your protection. Don't be lazy. You have to do it. All right, now lecture over. So in episode 94, we are talking paranormal investigation tips for connecting with spirits and the types of tangible objects and triggers that they connect with the best. I've had some experience with this over the years in various different ways. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned to help you get better responses from the energetic beings in the environment. So stay tuned for that episode. It's sure to be a lot of fun. If you like the content of this episode today, please think about leaving me a rating and a review. What reviews do is they let other people know your thoughts about my supernatural subject matter. People love reading reviews, and we're spreading the word about the real paranormal world around us. I would really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the episode. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.